Hey everybody, this is Geneva of Geneva's Closet Talk Show. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to Geneva's Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook at Geneva's Closet. And you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. Now, let's get into the news. I don't know if you all have heard the story about the young lady Chrystul Kizer that has a lot of similarities to the Cyntoia Brown story. And I read a few articles on it, and it's not a good story. But this one is coming from the News Tribune. I happen to like this one a little bit better. And it says, when Chrystul was 16, she met a 33-year-old man named Randy Volar. Volar sexually abused Chrystul multiple times. He filmed it. She wasn't the only one, and in February 2018, police arrested Volar on charges including child sexual assault, but then they released him without bail. Volar, a white man, remained free for 3 months, even after police discovered evidence that he was abusing about a dozen underage black girls. He remained free until Chrystul, then 17, went to his house one night in June and allegedly shot him in the head twice. She lit his body on fire, police said, and fled in his car. A few days later, she confessed. District Attorney Michael Gravely, whose office knew about the evidence against Volar but waited to prosecute him, charged Chrystul with arson and first-degree intentional homicide, an offense that carries a mandatory life sentence in Wisconsin. Gravely says he believes Chrystul crime was premeditated. The evidence, he argues, shows she planned to murder Volar so she could steal his BMW. Chrystul, now 19, maintains she was defending herself. Speaking publicly from jail for the first time, she said that when she told Volar she didn't want to have sex that night, he pinned her to the floor. I didn't intentionally try to do this, she said. Her case comes at a time when police and prosecutors across the country are re-evaluating how victims of sex trafficking should be treated. This year, Tennessee released Cyntoia Brown, whose story went viral in the midst of the Me Too movement. She went to prison at the age 16 and served 15 years for killing a man who purchased her for sex. Brown's story, along with the downfall of Jeffrey Epstein, whatever, and singer R. Kelly, reveal what most child sex trafficking actually looks like in America. Vulnerable kids, not kidnapped and held captive, not chained and smuggled across borders, but groomed by someone they trust and manipulated into believing they are the ones to blame for the abuse. Under federal law, all children who are brought or sold for sex are trafficking victims, regardless of the circumstances. 30 states and the District of Columbia have stopped charging minors with prostitution. Most states also have a law that gives sex trafficking victims an affirmative defense. If they can prove at trial they committed a crime because they were being trafficked, they can be acquitted of certain charges against them. Wisconsin is one of those states, and Chrystul wanted to use that law to defend her actions. Despite prosecutors' certainty that her crime was premeditated, her lawyer argues she still has a complete defense to the charges. But the affirmative defense law has never been used in a homicide or any other violent crime, not in Wisconsin, and as far as advocates know, not anywhere else. Just after 5 a.m. on the morning of June 5th, 2018, a woman looked out the window of her Kenosha, Wisconsin home and spotted flames on the roof of the Tiny Tan Ranch house on the corner. She punched 911 into her phone. Fire, she told the dispatcher. House is burning. Do you know if anyone is in the house? The dispatcher asked. Within 2 minutes, Kenosha police arrived to find the answer. Inside, a badly charred body lay slumped on the ground. There were 2 gunshots in the head. Dispatcher said that earlier that year, the house was involved in a call about a runaway child. Officers didn't yet know the details of that case, but it did give them a name for the homeowner, Randall Philip Volar III, who went by Randy. Police combed the house for evidence: alcohol bottles on the floor, a pizza box in the fridge, multiple hotel room keys. Credit card records showed that the night before, he paid for an Uber from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to his home. The Uber driver told police he had given a ride to a short black girl named Chrystul. Neighbors reported that there was usually a BMW in Volar's driveway. The car was found abandoned in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A receipt inside led police to a Family Dollar store where security footage revealed that 4 teens had driven the BMW. One of them said he had a sister named who? Chrystul Kizer. Police found her Facebook page filled with photos of a slender girl who wore long, colorful wigs. On the night of the fire, she posted a selfie at 3:10 a.m. Behind her were curtains detectives recognized from Volar's house. The caption read, "My mugshot." Really, bitch? Why would she even do that? I don't know. 3 days later, Chrystul live streamed on Facebook. She talked about giving her brother a BMW. She showed off a gun. She told her 20-year-old boyfriend, Delaney Nelson, "I don't want to shoot anybody else." The next morning, police drove a battering ram into Nelson's front door, the boyfriend. They found Chrystul inside, a shower cap on her head. Zip ties were placed around her wrists, and she was escorted into a squad car. Her bail was set at $1 million. As they investigated Chrystul, detectives were gathering information about Volar. He lived alone in the cramped 360 square foot one-bedroom house. He graduated from high school in 2001 and described himself as self-employed. He was 5'8" tall and about 200 pounds. His autopsy showed he had been born with missing fingers and toes, and a right leg was shorter than the left. His parents divorced in 2009, and 3 years later, Volar wore a suit to be the best man for his father, Randall P. Volar Jr., when he remarried at a golf resort. But most of what detectives needed to know was already sitting in a police file. The runaway report mentioned by dispatchers was actually something much more serious: a sex crimes investigation that had been underway for months. It began with another 911 call, this one just before 1 a.m. on February 12th, 2018. According to police records obtained by the Washington Post, a 15-year-old girl calling from Volar's house told dispatchers that a man had given her drugs and now he was going to kill her. Then she hung up. Officers found her wandering the streets wearing only a bra under an unzipped jacket. Her pupils were dilated. She said she had taken LSD. The girl eventually told police she met Volar the year before when he responded to an ad on Backpage.com. The site was one of the country's largest prostitution marketplaces until it was shut down for involvement in human trafficking last year. The girl said Volar paid her $250 for sex the first time they met when she was 14, then $100 each time after that. She told police he knew how old she was because when she suggested he find women his own age, he elaborated on why he preferred the bodies of young girls like her. In December 2017, the girl ran away from home and moved in with Volar. He gave her money, took her shopping, and even took her to dinner with his mother. Yes, people, with his mother, she said. The girl showed signs of what sex crimes experts call trauma bonding. Volar was nice to her, she said, and she didn't want to get him in trouble. She called him her friend. She said Volar was sexually abusing other underage girls too and filming it. She'd seen the videos. Sometimes he goes to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to find young girls, the police report said. She told detectives the first names of at least 3 of them, including one named Chrystul. On February 22nd, police searched Volar's house. They confiscated laptops, hard drives, and memory cards, along with women's pajamas, bikini bottoms, and underwear. Volar was arrested. The charges: child enticement, using a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, and second-degree sexual assault of a child, a felony punishable by up to 40 years in state prison. Miriam Falk, a veteran sex crime prosecutor in Wisconsin, said those charges typically lead to a substantial cash bail, upward of $100,000 if the person involved is wealthy. Add in video evidence and the case would be a dream for prosecutors. That would be a very difficult case to defend, Falk said. But on the same day police arrested Volar, they released him. Records indicate he paid no bail. Let me repeat that just in case you didn't hear me right the first time. Records indicate he paid no bail, but was told he could be summoned to court. The court summons never happened. Oh, did it not? Volar spent $20,000 to hire a criminal defense attorney, but 3 months passed before police sent the case to the district attorney's office. The file showed what was found in Volar's house: hundreds of child pornography videos featuring girls who appeared to be as young as 12 and more than 20 home videos of Volar with underage black girls. Still, Volar was not taken into custody. No sex crimes case was entered into the Wisconsin court system. 12 days later, Volar was dead because Chrystul Kizer picked up the gun and shot his ass. Kenosha police declined to comment for this story. Gravely, the district attorney said his office assigned a sex crimes prosecutor to the case who was working to determine the identities and ages of the victims involved. Oh, really? Oh, okay. In most of the cases, we didn't know the age, he said. So we literally did not know whether we had misdemeanor or felony. Really? That's the excuse. Although police hadn't tracked down all the other girls in Volar's videos, they did describe most of them in their reports as mid-teens or early teens. Investigators wrote that one appeared to be 13 or 14. Another they thought might be as young as 12. Yet they did nothing. Okay. Rachel Wilcox, who runs a legal clinic for human trafficking victims in Wisconsin, said police and prosecutors who are unfamiliar with these issues regularly fail to recognize that under federal law, there is no such thing as a child prostitute. Children, especially children of color, are still seen as willing participants in the sale of sex. And research shows black girls are routinely perceived as older and more sexually mature than their white peers. Investigators think my 14-year-old daughter would never do that, so there's no excuse, Wilcox said. They knew what they were doing. They put themselves out there. In the case against Volar, the lead investigator described the 15-year-old who ran from his house as prostituting herself out in his report. After Volar was killed, homicide detectives quickly learned more about his activities. On the day of his death, police received a call from TCF Bank, where most of Volar's money, $800,000 in assets, was housed. Prosecutors would later say that Volar's funds came from legal trading in cryptocurrency. The bank, police reports show, suspected something else was going on. A bank official called the police to flag that between November 2017 and May 2018, Volar had almost $1.5 million in transfers in a pattern of activity the bank associated with human trafficking. Confused, really? The detective who took the call asked whether someone from his department had called the bank to request this information. No, the bank officials said. He was just making a cold call. According to the police report, he had no idea Volar was dead. Days later, the detective opened Volar's file. The videos taken from his home had been edited into still images showing his victims' faces. The detective started flipping through the pictures, searching for one face in particular, and then he found it. There was Chrystul Kizer, her arms wrapped around her body, smiling at the camera. 16 months later, Chrystul Kizer was looking into another camera, this time from inside the Kenosha County Jail. While in jail, Chrystul talked to a reporter, and in more than 5 hours of call, Chrystul shared her story of what happened with Randy Volar, which began not in Wisconsin, but in Gary, Indiana, where she was born. Her mom, Devore Taylor, if I'm saying that correctly, was 16 when she had Chrystul. Taylor took jobs at fast food joints to support her daughter. Chrystul was delighted by watching cartoons and even more entertained by drawing worlds of her own. For junior high, she earned a spot in Gary's Performing Arts Academy. She chose orchestra as her specialty. Taylor couldn't afford a violin. By then, she had 3 more children and a boyfriend to support. So she put $100 down and paid a little at a time. While Taylor took classes at night, Chrystul started practicing at all hours, trying to learn Beethoven and Silent Night. Even now, Chrystul describes herself by talking about her music. I'm a violinist, she said. Some instruments like the guitar, my hand is too little for the board, so I like instruments that I can play. But while she learned the violin, Chrystul's childhood started to unravel as her mom's boyfriend turned more and more violent. Taylor never thought he would hurt her kids. Chrystul remembered differently. He would get in trouble. We would get in trouble, and he would take it too far and do extra, she said. Chrystul learned to guide her brothers and 2 sisters into their bedroom, close the door, and wait for her mother to say she could call the police. They would just take him and tell him to leave, Chrystul recalled, but he would always come back. At the end of 2015, Taylor and the kids left almost all of their belongings in Indiana and moved to Milwaukee. They stayed at a Salvation Army shelter for months before they found an apartment. While Taylor was working at Denny's, her son started stealing cars. Chrystul started skipping school and hanging with Delaney Nelson, who was 3 years older than her. Soon, Chrystul and Nelson were physically fighting. Once a witness saw Nelson holding Chrystul in a headlock and striking her with a stick more than 10 times while dragging her through the parking lot. Nelson, who did not respond to requests for comment, pleaded guilty to a charge of battery. Chrystul stayed with him. In the fall of 2016, she met someone who told her she deserved better. Randy Volar. Chrystul first said she met Volar at a bus stop. Later, she confessed she met him after he responded to an advertisement she had posted on Backpage.com. She needed money for snacks and school notebooks, she said, and a girl she knew showed her how to use the site. Volar was the first to respond. She was 16, but she told him she was 19. At first, I was nervous, and then I told him, okay. Before long, she was seeing Volar every other week. She said he was always complimenting her brown eyes, her colorful wigs, her 104-pound body. He took her out on dates and let her order steak. He bought her a heart-shaped locket, got her a phone, and let her drive his cars. She didn't need to post on Backpage.com again. He took her shopping and gave her cash she could share with her sisters, sometimes $500 at a time. She made excuses to Nelson and her mom about where the gifts were coming from. She knew what Volar expected in return, but she didn't think it was wrong. He was the only friend that I actually had. She is sure Volar knew her age because in the summer of 2017, he invited her to his house to celebrate her 17th birthday. He had bought me cupcakes, and he had gave me this new drug I had never heard about called acid. It made me feel weird. A few weeks later, Chrystul was arrested. Milwaukee police said she was driving a car that her brother had reportedly stolen when they tried to pull her over. According to police, she sped away, then ran. She was charged with fleeing an officer. In Wisconsin, 17-year-olds are charged as adults. After 55 days in jail, her bond was reduced to $400, and Volar paid it. Chrystul said he made clear what specific sex acts he wanted in return. I told him that I never wanted to do that. He said that I had to owe him that. She began to try to cut Volar out of her life. To her mother's dismay, she had moved in with Nelson. Chrystul said she told Volar she wanted to get serious with Nelson so she couldn't see him anymore. He had started to talk violent and stuff, she said. I was going to stop talking to him, and he said that if I did, that he was going to kill me. She never confided in anyone. She didn't call the police. They didn't help my mom, she said. Chrystul said she didn't know about the other girls, Volar's arrest, or the videos confiscated by police. She said she didn't know Volar filmed her. Eventually, those videos and the sex crimes file on Volar would be shared with Chrystul's lawyer, who came to believe Volar's involvement in sex trafficking went beyond just buying sex. Volar used cryptocurrency and anonymous browsers to access the dark web, tools popular with distributors of child pornography. In the videos Volar made, Chrystul's lawyer told the judge he describes himself as an escort trainer. He instructs one girl, the lawyer said, on what she could do to keep body parts of hers in working order to be a better prostitute. In another video, Volar tells a girl, do you want to post to Kenosha Racine and see if anybody calls you and I'll give you a ride? Only after multiple interviews with the Post did Chrystul describe quietly what that meant. Volar, she said, sold her through Backpage.com to other people. She said he would post ads, then drive her to hotels in Milwaukee where men his age or older would spend 30 minutes with her. She gave Volar the money she earned. Sometimes, she said, Volar would arrange for her to meet more than one man in a day. He told me to get the money first and then to text him once I was finished. Once talkative and smiling during interviews, Chrystul grew more and more upset as she spoke. To most questions she answered, I don't know. She did not know the hotel names or how much the men paid. She did not know when it started or how many times it happened. She said she did not know how it made her feel, but she did know why she kept doing it. Because he was a grown-up and I wasn't, she said, so I listened. In May 2018, Chrystul's boyfriend started to grow suspicious. Nelson told Chrystul and later the police that he thought someone might be following her. So he bought a .380 pistol and taught her to shoot it in his backyard. He told her to carry it everywhere. On June 4th, Chrystul appeared in Milwaukee court to plead guilty to the fleeing charge she had picked up nearly a year earlier. She said Nelson came along, and by the afternoon they were fighting. Worried he would hit her again, Chrystul said she texted Volar to ask if she could come over. At 8:42 p.m., an Uber picked her up. The pistol, she said, was in her purse. I had went into the house. He had ordered some pizza. We were smoking, and he asked me if I wanted to drink any liquor. And then he gave me this drug. I don't know what it's called. And after that, we started to watch movies. And then the drug, it made me feel weird or whatever. She said Volar came to sit next to her. He started to touch my leg, and then like I had jumped and told him that I didn't want him to do that. I just thought that I didn't want to do that stuff anymore because I was trying to change. Volar, Chrystul recalled, told her what she owed him. I tried to get up to get away from him, but I had tripped and I fell on the floor, and he had got on top of me, and he was trying to like rip my pants off, my jeans that I had on, and I was like wiggling because once me and Nelson had got into a fight, he had tried to pin me down, but I'll like wiggle to get loose. She doesn't remember going to get the pistol. She does remember the sound it made, like a pop, a high pop. I started to panic. This was a different story than what she initially told detectives. On that day she was arrested, Chrystul said she didn't know Volar. Then she said she saw another woman shoot him. Months later, she would tell police that Nelson had been the one to kill him. But eventually, during her first interview With detectives, she confessed. She told them she was tired of Volar touching her. Chrystul says she watches the show Criminal Minds, and she decided to make a fire, an account of the interview states. Chrystul says she poured red liquor everywhere, grabbed tissue or toilet paper, and started the fire. Chrystul says she doesn't remember the fire. She said Volar was planning to give her a laptop and a new car for her 18th birthday, and that's why she took them. She says she lied to detectives at first because she was scared, but she knows a jury will examine those actions when they ask the central question about what happened between Chrystul and Volar. Who was the real victim? To Chrystul, the answer is clear. Both of us, Chrystul said, because of the stuff he was doing to me and that he should have never died. Okay, get this, people. At least 35 states have passed affirmative defense laws, which allows victims to try to prove in court that their crime occurred because of the abuse they experienced. Most of those laws only apply to prostitution charges. Some can be used for other crimes traffickers often force their victims to commit, such as truancy, theft, and drug possession. But in a few states, including Wisconsin, the affirmative defense law is broad. It doesn't specify which crimes the defense can be used for. A victim of a violation of trafficking has an affirmative defense, the Wisconsin law states, for any offense committed as a direct result of the violation of trafficking without regard to whether anyone was prosecuted or convicted for the violation of trafficking. In the years since the law was enacted in 2008, it has been used by lawyers seeking plea deals for clients charged with prostitution, but neither side in Chrystul's case could find an instance in which the law was used as a defense in court. With no other cases to serve as precedent and no further clarification written in the law, the judge in Chrystul's case would be the first to decide which crimes the affirmative defense can apply to and whether that includes violent crimes. Siding with Chrystul could open a door for other trafficking victims prosecuted in Wisconsin and fuel the creation of new affirmative defense laws across the country. And it would give Chrystul's lawyers the chance to try to convince a jury that even if she killed a man, she deserved to go free. In December, Chrystul went before the judge again. The court, Wilk announced, is satisfied that a blanket affirmative defense to all acts lead to an absurd result. Basically, he decided that Chrystul did not have access to the affirmative defense law for trafficking victims. In his view, neither would other trafficking victims charged with violent crimes. Johnson plans to appeal the ruling, a process that could delay the jury trial for months. This is a statement from Randy Volar's father, Randall P. Volar Jr., that he made in court, and it says, "And when the truth comes out, I hope people's perception of my son will change. My son was a good man, loved by his family and respected for his kindness and intelligence. We all miss him dearly and would do anything to turn back the hands of time so we could be with him. What happened is a tragedy for both families, the Kizers and the Volars." In this article that I'm reading from, it gives some mentions of Taylor Kizer, Chrystul's mom, and her feelings on this whole situation. And it says, for a year and a half, she'd been going over it all in her head. Why hadn't she stopped Chrystul from going to live with her boyfriend? Why hadn't she asked more questions about those new clothes? She reminded herself that she had 3 other kids, worked long hours, and moved to Milwaukee to survive. Only sometimes did it make her feel any better. She also went on to say numerous home videos recorded by the suspect of him having sex with numerous females. Most appear to be in their teenage years, from 14 to 17 years old. 12? 12? Come on, man. 12 years old? Little kids? They ain't even in their teens. So why? Why are we here? Okay, that was a lot. And I really don't want to make this video any more longer than it already is. But I do want to say that Centoya Brown Long did come out in support of Chrystul with her Free Chrystul shirt on, because she's been through it herself. And you all know that I recently interviewed Centoya's adoptive brother that went into a lot about her being young and what happened with her whole situation. And what I can say about, the whole Chrystul thing is the fact that they have to make a sign or something that says that a child can't be a prostitute just lets us know that the world is totally off. Because why would someone think that a child can be a prostitute? So if a child is out there 13 years old, 12 years old, 14, 15, selling her body, that's what she really wanted to do because she was just thinking about sex at that early of an age. Really? Obviously something happened to her, and that's why she's out there doing it. But they literally have to make signs to let you know that a child cannot technically be a prostitute. And people snap sometimes. I mean, was it wrong for Centoya to kill old boy? Yeah, probably was, but he was wrong too. And was it wrong for Chrystul to shoot old boy in the head twice, steal his BMW, set the home on fire, and do everything else she did? Yeah, it was. And she did some extraness too by going on Facebook Live and doing all of this other stuff. But she's a kid, and kids do stupid things. Like, we all know that because we were there before. My real honest opinion, without going on and on and on, is that women, little girls, and even little boys, we are never going to get any justice when it comes to this whole sex thing because the world is ran by men. The people in high places are men. That's why the issues are the way that they are in the Roman Catholic Church. Why do you think? It ain't because of the nuns. The nuns is not the people in the high places and they're messing with the little boys, which I'm not saying that they possibly not doing that too, because they probably are. But we see a whole bunch of priests walking around with these robe dresses on. Those are the perverts. All the people in the high places, when we talk about all the presidents, they were men. When we talk about most of the mayors and the governors and the representatives, they are the men. These are the ones that's making the rules and the laws and things like that. And they don't care about no sex stuff. I mean, like, women don't get respect. They don't, I mean, like, we always get talked about bad. Come on now, like, when it comes to having children and there's an issue with the woman and, having a child by the man, what's the first thing that people say? Well, then she shouldn't have opened up her legs. Never mind the fact that the man carries the seed and he out here fumigating the world with his seed. Never mind that her is all her fault. That's why she got all these kids and all of this stuff happened to her, because she shouldn't have never opened up her legs. You can't even wear a short skirt or tight pants because it was your fault. Ladies, girls, your fault. Don't have a drink and get drunk and something happened to you and you get raped. That was your fault. Damn near you did it. You shouldn't have been drinking, and then you shouldn't have got drunk with a short skirt on, because that was a setup for rape. So the whole thing is your fault. That's really, truly how I feel about it. Are we ever really going to get justice? You can pass all the little bitty laws here and there and here if you want to. But is anything really, truly going to get done? No. Because women, girls, ladies, little boys, we get no respect. None. Absolutely none. Not until the world is ran by women. Then the vagina may be appreciated for more than just an orgasm. You know what I mean? This video is sponsored by Cheapo Air. CheapoAir.com is a leading provider of airline tickets, hotel rooms, rental cars, and vacation packages through its extensive partnership with top travel brands and a wide range of inventory. How about you take advantage of their cash rewards, like $25 off on your vacation, $15 off on hotels, or $8 off on airfare. But there's so much more. Matter of fact, I don't even think I'm doing justice by talking about it. You should definitely go and click the link in my description box. Go over to cheapoair.com and take advantage of their cash rewards today. I would like to know how you all feel about this situation, and while you are letting me know, could you please like and share this video and subscribe to Genevas Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook at Genevas Closet, and you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. You all have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.